Hey trainers, Alakaham here with some more Pokemon video magic, and I was able to secure some Lucario today from raids, and I actually ended up just elite TMing some of my old Lucario to get the elite move for today, which is Force Palm. And as you've probably heard, Force Palm is pretty great. It does a good amount of damage on its own, and it also charges up moves pretty quickly. So Force Palm, pretty good update for Lucario. Very cool. So I'm running a Lucario team for the Fantasy Cup here, and unfortunately I don't have all of the resources that I need to add another charge move for this video, so I'm actually just running a single move Lucario with Force Palm and Thunder Punch. Ideally, you also want Shadow Ball or possibly Close Combat on your Lucario in addition to Thunder Punch. But for a single move, it's not too bad. And some of the folks who watch my videos are also, not professional players. Like, I'm not a professional player, so sometimes it takes me a little while to get extra moves on my Pokemon. It takes a little bit of saving up. So maybe there are some of you out there too who are running single charge move Lucario, and if that's what you're doing, that's great. Lucario is functional just as it is, and Force Palm actually makes it even more functional and even more useful. And that includes when it just has one charge move, right? So I'm going to focus on that. As you can see, the Lucario is doing decent damage even as it is working on a resisted Azumarill there, and with Thunder Punch you can do a lot of extra damage to counters like Azumarill. So I imagine you need to be prepared for Force Palm Lucario in the Fantasy Cup now, because a lot of folks were playing these raids and getting the updated versions of Lucario, so you can expect to see that here. Okay, my video is a whole stream of just one set, and I'm at a very kind of middle range elo for an ace player, and I imagine that's where a lot of other players are as well. So hopefully this is useful for you in seeing that these players like Lucario, even with a single move, can be really exciting, really helpful to use, and can be a lot of fun, whether you're trying to grind and climb or whether you're just having fun. Force Palm Lucario is really great. I've been yammering on without doing as much commentary as I intended to, so we're going to go ahead and do some talking through what my strategy was for getting through this set. My opponent started with a Galarian Stunfisk, but all of my Pokemon kind of counter Galarian Stunfisk, so when they swapped into their Azumarill, I figured I would just stay in with my Tapu Fini here. I was really fortunate to get a Tapu Fini for the Great League. I raided a number of Tapu Fini and then traded with my wife a bunch of times until I got one with poor enough IVs to actually drop into Great League playability range, so shout out to Mrs. Ham for that. And if you don't have a Tapu Fini, that's okay. Using an Azumarill on a team like this is very doable, right? So Azumarill works really well. The idea here was to have Fairy Double Steel, and in the case that you have access to a Mawile, Mawile is Steel Fairy, so you get a little bit of the best of both worlds there. Alright, coming in with Lucario against this Stunfisk, and we're just going to shield everything because we can farm down, and we just don't want to get hit with an Earthquake. My opponent realized that, and they seem to kind of yield and just let a lot of those Force Palms through, so there you have it. Lucario pushing its way into another win with game number 2 there. So we're going to be moving into game number 3, and we come across a Turtonator. We're in a really good spot with a Fairy type crossed with Water against a Dragon type crossed with Fire, so that worked out really well. They counter with a Ferrothorn, and we have the perfect answer in Mawile. The best they can do is neutral damage with Thunder. That is absolutely not going to KO. But we don't want to get hit with another move. Fortunately, we're able to farm down with that Fire Fang. My opponent comes in with Turtonator. We're going to threaten it. I'm just going to throw this power-up punch and hope that we can get to another one. Unfortunately, we could not. That's okay. Going to come in with the Fini. Tapu Fini is charged and ready. Got a Surf ready to go. And because of the Dragon typing, that's just going to do neutral. That's alright. We do quite a bit of chip damage, and we can tank any move, including a big old overheat there. My opponent brings in an Azumarill, and that is going to be a little bit tricky because Lucario can do okay against Azumarill, but it can also take a lot of neutral damage from a play rough, so we've got to be really careful here. Fortunately, Force Palm charges up moves really fast, so we are able to get a Thunder Punch through to take out the Azumarill. And I figure even though we're going to take a lot of damage on the Lucario from the Turtonator, it's fine to go ahead and shield, and we could have tried to finish things out with Tapu Fini if we needed to, but I figure if this is a Lucario showcase, it would be best to try and get some more of those fast moves in to kind of showcase that elite fast move. Always got a little tea ready in the background here while we are waiting for these new opponents to queue up. Alright, so we hit a... don't see this very often. Hit the Dark Meowth. The Meowser. The thing. You know the one. And I bring in... Oh, Berserker. That's the name I'm trying to think of. I tell you all what, my ability to remember the names of all of these players is getting worse and worse. But I like seeing them anyway. So it's cool to see players that... characters that I'm not used to seeing all that often. Okay, so unfortunately we have lost both shield and switch advantage here, so I'm really counting on Tapu Fini to be able to do some damage. And they bring back in the Berserker. I am desperately trying to farm down by swapping into Lucario, and I'm not able to do it. I don't want to get one shot, so now we are down we're down both shields to 2, and it's Lucario against Lucario. We are both doing huge damage to one another, and I have a partially damaged Tapu Fini in the back. Fortunately, we were able to do a lot of damage with our own Lucario. So Tapu Fini hangs on by a thread while we are able to just barely farm down with Tapu Fini and beat the opposing Lucario. Really close match, and that one had me sweating as I was playing it. And my opponent had a shiny. That's pretty cool. So kudos to finding that shiny Lucario. I wasn't sure what to expect in the back from someone who's leading with a Grand Bull. I don't see that very often, so I thought I would, switch into my safe swap there with Mawile, and I was willing to let the Mawile go. I was kind of expecting a close combat, but we just took a resisted crunch there, and we were able to get the farm down. So I've lost switch advantage, but I have I have maintained my shields, and now we know at least part of what's in the back here. I'm going to bring in Lucario because I figure that the Tapu Fini probably has a little more play. Unfortunately, my opponent seems to be experiencing a little bit of a delay here because they're using moves, but they're starting a little bit later than me. So that's unfortunate. That's too bad for my opponent there. They are still getting some fast moves in, though. So my Lucario is going to throw back-to-back Thunder Punches. These would not be all that bad for the Goodra, but the Goodra really doesn't want to see a Fairy type in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and just go for 2 of Nature's Madness, but I think they kind of figured out what was going on, and they let the Nature's Madness through. So that's the new Force Palm Lucario, and I think it's really great and really cool, and I hope that you all enjoyed watching the video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, and if you want to see more, you can subscribe, and I will try and upload as often as I can. Until next time, trainers.